RON 95 to float in January. MACC issued 80 compound notices. You're watching the evening edition of News on 2. I'm Adrian Seat. The price of RON 95 will be floated gradually from January next year when the government rolls out its targeted fuel subsidy initiative. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Dato Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said only Bantuan Sara Hidup or BSH recipients were qualified for the fuel subsidy and gave assurances that the gradual move to lift the RON 95 petrol subsidy will be done in a manner that would not burden the people. Dato Sri Saifuddin said the mechanism that will be used to gradually float RON 95 is under the Finance Ministry. He said the subsidy rate is 30 ringgit a month for cars and 12 ringgit a month for motorcycles. It is estimated that 2.9 million recipients will benefit from the scheme.
Okay. Yang dia ada 2 motosikal, 2 kereta pun kita ambil kadar yang dihadkan pada salah satu iaitu yang lebih tinggi. Okey, itu kriteria kita bangunkan. Jadi barulah kita dapat jumlahnya 2.9 juta penerima bantuan sara hidup yang nama kenderaannya berdaftar atas nama mereka dengan JPJ.
Dato Sri Saifuddin said this at the announcement of the petrol subsidy program in Putrajaya. He said the scheme will cost the government 65.4 million ringgit a month and that the first payment of the cash aid will be made in April of 2020. 80 individuals and entities believed to have received money organized and originated from One Malaysia Development Berhad or 1MDB have been issued with compound notices from the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission or MACC. Chief Commissioner Latifah Koya said they are believed to have received money totaling 420 million ringgit. The compound notices were issued under Section 92, Subsection 1 of the Anti-Money Laundering and Anti-Terrorism Financing Act 2001. According to Latifah, the individuals received as low as 100,000 ringgit to as high as 100 million ringgit. Those served with the compound notices were given 2 weeks to return the money.
It is allowed under Section 92 where if someone has committed an offence under AMLA, we have the power to actually issue compound notice against these people who have received those monies, and they are given a certain amount of time from the time of the compound notice. In this case, we are giving them 2 weeks to actually pay up the fine, and the fine will be as low as the amount that they have received or as high as 2.5 times of the amount.
She was speaking at a special press conference held in Putrajaya. Latifah said the MACC had received consent to issue the compound notices from the Attorney General. She added that failing to pay the fine will result in MACC to use the full authority of the powers that were given within the Act to take the necessary action. It is noted that in June, the MACC had filed civil forfeiture suits against 41 recipients and entities to recover 270 million ringgit related to 1MDB. The Kuala Lumpur High Court was told today that Tan Sri Muhammad Isa Abdul Samad allegedly received about 3 million ringgit from the sale of Merdeka Palace Hotel and Suites in Kuching to Felda Investment Corporation Sdn Bhd or FICSB in 2014. Tan Sri Muhammad Isa is on trial for 9 counts of graft and 1 count of criminal breach of trust. The High Court in Kuala Lumpur today heard that Tan Sri Muhammad Isa, who was then FICSB Director and Chairman of FICSB's Board of Directors, received 3 million ringgit as gratification from Gagasan Abadi Properties Sdn Bhd Director Ikhwan Zaidil for assisting the company to sell to FICSB at a price of 160 million ringgit. Deputy Public Prosecutor Afzai Nizam Abdul Aziz, in his opening statement, said that Tan Sri Muhammad Isa was paid 3 million ringgit after the sale of the hotel went through. Afzai Nizam told the court that the 3 million ringgit was paid in 9 payments. On the CBT charge, DPP Afzai Nizam said that Tan Sri Muhammad Isa, in his capacity as the director of FICSB, played an active role in the purchase of Merdeka Palace Hotel and Suites by the Felda subsidiary from Gagasan Abadi Properties at an inflated price of 160 million ringgit. All the offences were allegedly committed between 21st of July 2014 and the 11th of December of 2015. According to the case list at the court, the hearing of Tan Sri Muhammad Isa's case will be before Judge Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali from today until the 10th of October, when it will be adjourned and continued again from the 14th to the 25th of October. The Kuala Lumpur High Court today maintained the hearing dates of 18th to the 29th of November for the alleged tampering of the 1MDB audit report by Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Abdul Razak and former 1MDB CEO Arul Kanda Kandasamy. The decision was made by Judge Muhammad Zaini Mazlan after he denied the prosecution's application to postpone the November dates that clashes with Datuk Sri Najib's ongoing 1MDB trial. Judge Muhammad Zaini said the court did not see any issue of clash of the 1MDB audit report, a tampering trial with any other ongoing court cases involving Datuk Sri Najib. Earlier, the postponement was made by the Deputy Public Prosecutor Muhammad Al-Saifi Hashim. Meanwhile, the defence counsels of both Datuk Sri Najib and Arul Kanda agreed with the dates set by the court and have no issue with the hearing dates. The prosecution then informed the court that some of the court documents were given to the defence counsels except for several witness statements. Judge Muhammad Zaini then fixed 16th of October and the 12th of November as mentioned dates for final documents submission. Former Companies Commission of Malaysia, or CCM, Chief Executive Officer Dato' Zara Abdul Wahab Fenner and her son Abdul Aziz Wan Ruslan were charged with 2 counts of corruption at the Sessions Court in Ipoh today. Dato' Zara was said to have abetted with Abdul Aziz, who had received a total of 250,000 ringgit from Samhan Adnan in the form of deposits to her Maybank Islamic Berhad account on the 18th and the 25th of May last year. Both claimed trial after being read their charges separately before Sessions Court Judge S. Indra Nehru. The money is said to be a fee to get Dato' Zahra to approve an investment and finance internal memo of One Syarikat Ace Holdings Berhad on the 19th of April in 2018. Meanwhile, Abdul Aziz pleaded not guilty to both counts of receiving a bribe worth 200,000 ringgit and 50,000 ringgit from the same individual for the same purpose. He was charged accordingly under Section 16, Subsection A, Subsection A of the MACC Act 2009. The remains of a former policeman, aged 34, was found in a car in Taman Kaning in Ipoh, Perak. Ipoh Police Chief ACP A. Asmadi Abdul Aziz said the body was found at about 8:20 a.m. this morning after it was reported by a member of the public. ACP Asmadi said police found the body at the front seat of the car, adding that the victim was dismissed about 3 months ago.
Menunggu laporan postmortem untuk dapat tahu punca-punca kematian lah. So pihak forensik juga berada di sini dan kita mengharapkanlah kepada mana-mana orang awam lah yang dapat apa-apa maklumat berkaitan dengan sebuah kenderaan lah yang berada di tepi jalan ni supaya dapat memberi apa-apa info kepada pegawai penyiasat kita lah.
Speaking to reporters, ACP Asmadi said further investigations will be made to identify the cause of death, including analysing CCTV footage near the area. The body was sent to Raja Perempuan Bainon Hospital in Ipoh for post-mortem, and the case is now classified as sudden death. A Hulu Kinta Pasukan Gerakan Am, or PGA, officer was arrested after he was believed to have fired his gun at his fiance's house in Taman Merdeka in Ipoh, Perak yesterday evening. Now, Perak Police Chief Dato' Razarudin Hussein said in the incident that happened between 6 p.m. to 7 p.m, the suspect, who is also a 29-year-old inspector, went to his fiance's house and fired his gun after a heated argument. Met today, Dato' Razarudin said the officer who was stationed at the Wangkalian Immigration, Customs and Quarantine Complex was reported missing from work on Friday. He was arrested by a police mobile patrol vehicle team after the incident. A gun, a bullet and a motorcycle were seized. The suspect is remanded and the case is now investigated under Section 307 of the Penal Code for attempted murder. Coming up next, SPV 2030 aims to produce Bumiputra with integrity. Welcome back. Now, the government aims to produce a new generation of Bumiputras who hold firmly to good moral values and integrity through the Shared Prosperity Vision 2030 or SPV 2030 launched last Saturday. Our Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said that through the SPV 2030, the government wants the new generation of Bumiputras to be a generation of diligent, hardworking, dignified and patriotic people who are prepared to do anything to save the country and reduce dependence on foreigners.
Kali ini peluang akan diberi kepada mereka yang menunjuk minat dan keupayaan. Dan jika mereka tidak mempunyai keupayaan ataupun pengalaman, maka kita akan memberi latihan yang sesuai untuk mereka menguruskan segala usaha mereka, menambahkan pendapatan mereka. Inilah yang akan dilakukan di bawah wawasan yang baru ini.
Tun Dr. Mahathir said this at Dewan Rakyat in reply to Datuk Sri Abdul Hadi Awang, who wanted to know the government's efforts to narrow the economic and social gap between Malay Bumiputra and non-Malay Bumiputras in the country through SVP 2030.
Yang berikut.
The government has started to review the poverty line or PGK in the country in the month of March itself, aimed at giving a clearer picture of the poverty situation in the country. Now, speaking in Parliament today, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad explained that although the past poverty rate, which was based on data obtained from the Household Income Survey, remains relevant at the micro level, the data had to be used carefully. This is because the survey does not reflect consumer patterns, needs and demography of households accurately due to errors in sampling that cannot be avoided. In view of these facts, he said, in the midterm review of the 11th Malaysia Plan, the government introduced the Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index to complement the PGK. This will be used to measure and monitor poverty in various dimensions like health, education, income and living standards.
Sekarang ini kita dapati bahawa bukan saja pendapatan yang menentukan kemiskinan seseorang, tetapi juga segala layanan yang diberi kepada mereka, kemudahan yang diberi kepada mereka, bantuan yang diberi kepada mereka. Kita bercadang supaya untuk mengurangkan kemiskinan, maka kita perlu menentukan keupayaan mereka mendapat pendapatan yang cukup untuk membeli tiga perkara, iaitu makanan, pakaian dan bumbung di atas kepala mereka.
He said this in his reply to Port Dickson MP Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim on the special report by the United Nations on the poverty rate in Malaysia, which claimed that the situation was worse than reported. The review on the poverty line is being done with the cooperation of the Statistics Department, Health Ministry and relevant departments and agencies. The government will study offers to take over Plus Highway Berhad, including bids from abroad. Now, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said this when asked about the offer made by a Hong Kong and Singapore-based equity firm, RRJ Capital, to take over Plus Highway, reportedly with an offer of 3 billion ringgit.
Apa bidaan yang dibuat oleh sesiapa akan dikaji oleh kerajaan. Kalau dia sesuai dengan kehendak kita, kita akan layan permintaan mereka. Ya, we can sell, kita boleh jual
Tapi kita mesti ada tempat juga untuk kita ada kita punya consulate di situ.
On the 3rd of October, the media reported that RRJ Capital, which is also co-owned by Malaysian brothers Richard and Charles Ong, has proposed the 3 billion ringgit bid to Sovereign Wealth Fund Khazanah Nasional Berhad, the parent company of PLUS. If the offer was accepted, they were to reduce toll rates by 20% across highways under the concessionaire. In a direct comment, Khazanah Nasional Berhad's Managing Director, Dato' Sharil Ridza Rizwan, said it will be a huge moral hazard to put the country's largest highway concessionaire in the hands of the private sector, stressing that the company is essentially a strategic asset for the country.
It's an asset which particularly I think would be difficult to imagine in private hands, especially if a lot of the offers coming in are basically private entities who just want to acquire the asset at a cheap discount and still asking the government to guarantee them. So I think there's a huge moral hazard in having private entities own such a strategic asset with the backing of government guarantees.
He added that as a strategic asset, PLUS Highways should really remain in the ownership of the Malaysian people. The government's strategic arm, which owns a 51% stake in PLUS, has reportedly rejected all takeover offers it received from local and foreign private entities. The government will act against Malaysian-owned plantations in Indonesia if it is true that they have resorted to open burning that contributed to the recent trans-boundary haze that also affected Malaysia. Deputy Primary Industries Minister Dato' Sri Shamsul Iskandar Mohamed Akin told the Dewan Rakyat that the government is awaiting the outcome of an investigation on the matter.
Kita masih menunggu lagi siasatan daripada negara jiran, apakah benar syarikat yang dikatakan itu milik Malaysia berkait ataupun terpalit dengan isu pembakaran hutan ini. Malah ada satu syarikat yang telah membuat kenyataan rasmi. Mereka juga menyatakan bahawa akan memberikan kerjasama dengan pihak berkuasa Indonesia untuk memastikan siasatan itu lengkap dan benar-benar dilakukan.
Dato' Sri Shamsul Iskandar said that through the Council of Palm Oil Producing Countries, or CPOPC, Malaysia and Indonesia had expressed their commitment to ensure sustainability in the production of palm oil and oil palm-based products. He added that the practice of sustainable cultivation complies with the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil Certification and Indonesian Sustainable Palm Oil Certification, which includes prohibiting open burning. The Dewan Rakyat, which can reconvened today for the third meeting of the second term of the 14th Parliament, observed a moment of silence and extended its condolences over the death of Sultan Ismail Petra, the father of the current Sultan of Kelantan, Sultan Muhammad V, on the 28th of September. The Dewan also conveyed condolences to the family of Datuk Dr. Muhammad Farid Mak Rafiq, the Tanjung PI Member of Parliament, who died on the 21st of September. The condolences were conveyed by Dewan Rakyat Speaker Tan Sri Muhammad Arif Mat Yusof on behalf of the Legislative Council before the question and answer session. Tan Sri Muhammad Arif also described Dato' Dr. Muhammad Farid's death as a great loss to the country, as the latter was deemed a very credible and caring leader. Dato' Dr. Muhammad Farid last served as a Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department. Lembaga Tabung Haji has set the 1st of November this year as the deadline for inactive depositors to activate their respective accounts to avoid the risk of losing their benefits as Tabung Haji active account depositors. Now, according to a statement today, Tabung Haji has identified over 700,000 Tabung Haji depositor accounts as of the end of August of 2019, involving a total of 60.4 million ringgit in deposits that have not conducted any transactions for more than 7 consecutive years since 2012. Tabung Haji said accounts that remain inactive after the 1st of November 2019 will be transferred to a dormant account group, and those accounts will no longer receive the benefit as active account depositors. However, it said that the amount transferred to the dormant account can still be claimed and paid to the depositors under the provisions of Section 23, Subsection 2 of the Tabung Haji Act 1995. Tabung Haji said depositors can activate their accounts by making at least one savings or money withdrawal transaction. This can be done at any Tabung Haji branch, counter unit teller, or online transaction with any Tabung Haji strategic partners of Bank Islam, Bank Rakyat, Maybank and CIMB nationwide. It said depositors could also check the status of their accounts on these channels with just their identification cards. Khazanah Nasional Berhad aims to reduce its debt to between 35 billion ringgit and 40 billion ringgit in the next 3 to 5 years from the ongoing asset sales. Managing Director Dato' Sharil Ridza Rizwan said the country's sovereign wealth fund targets to cut its debt from 55 billion ringgit to 47 billion ringgit this year.
That's basically a medium-term plan which was approved by our board, which is basically to focus on getting to a sustainable level of debt, which is roughly about 40 billion ringgit. So we look at basically our asset-to-debt cover. We are targeting roughly about 3.5 times asset-to-debt cover, as opposed to right now where we are roughly just over 2 times asset-to-debt cover. So it's really about providing a more sustainable balance sheet for Khazanah for the long term. Not to say that we're not going to have any debt at all, but you need to make sure that the debt is correctly positioned to support the assets and activities of Khazanah.
He was met at the Khazanah Megatrends Forum 2019 in Kuala Lumpur. He added that Khazanah is expected to generate 5 billion ringgit in potential revenue this year. Our sports segment concludes this evening's edition of News on 2. In our top story, RON 95 to float in January. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for more news updates. I'm Adrian Seed. Thanks for watching.